Picture this. It's a Thursday. You just had an allergic reaction to some meds you've taken a couple of times before. The last thing you remember is being lifted up by people wearing short-sleeved, button-down navy blue shirts. You wake up and find yourself in total darkness. Your mouth tastes like copper and weird chemicals. You stretch your hands up to rub your face, and your knuckles hit something flat and hard. It's around 6 inches above your nose. You push it, but it doesn't move. You push with both hands. Still no movement. The smell hits next. Something chemical, like a closed room full of flowers that nobody visits. You can't sit up. You can't roll over. Also, your elbows keep hitting the walls on both sides. And then your brain starts to slowly, completely understand what your hands are already touching. Oh, hey there. I'm your host, dead, caffeinated, and genuinely thrilled to walk you through vivisepulture, which is the medical term for being buried alive, which is also somehow worse than it sounds. Here's what you're going to find out today. Exactly how much air is in that box with you, what your body does as it runs out, and whether anything, and I mean anything at all, gives you a real shot at getting out. But first, let's play a game. I'm going to say something. You tell me if it's true or false. 1. You can punch through the lid and dig your way out. True or false? False. At 6 feet deep, the soil pressing down on that lid weighs roughly 2 tons. That's a Toyota Camry sitting on your chest. 2. You just quietly fall asleep as the oxygen runs out. Peaceful, like drifting off on a Sunday morning. True or false? False. You don't run out of oxygen first. You get poisoned by your own breath. Carbon dioxide builds up and causes throbbing headaches, confusion, and convulsions before you ever lose consciousness. 3. 6 feet under is just a saying. The depth doesn't really matter. True or false? False. 6 feet is the exact depth where escape becomes physically impossible and where the math of your air supply starts working completely against you. Now, here's what that math actually looks like. A standard burial casket measures 84 by 28 by 23. The total internal volume is 886 liters. Your body takes up 66 of those liters. That leaves 820 liters of air. Oxygen makes up about 20% of that. Therefore, you start with roughly 164 liters of breathable oxygen. At rest, your body burns 0.5 liters of oxygen per minute. Do the math. That's about 328 minutes, 5 hours and 30 minutes. That's the good news. But the bad news is that number assumes you are completely still and calm, breathing like a monk. But you are not a monk. You are you trapped in a box underground. Every time your heart rate climbs, every time you gasp or pound the lid, that 328 minutes shrinks. Also, panic cuts it to 2 hours or less. Your CO2 level is already rising. You can't feel it yet, and you're still pounding the lid, still screaming, still burning oxygen at 3 times the resting rate. But the casket isn't moving, the lid isn't cracking, and every breath you waste screaming is a breath you're not getting back.
Minutes 5 to 15. Now you feel it. A headache. But not a regular headache, a crushing, building pressure behind your eyes, like someone is slowly inflating a balloon inside your skull. That's carbon dioxide reacting with water in your blood and forming carbonic acid. Your brain's blood vessels are also swelling because your body is trying to push more oxygen to your brain. But here's the irony. The harder your body pushes, the faster you're burning through what's left. Your survival mechanism is rapidly accelerating your death. Minutes 15 to 30. Your breathing is getting harder, not slower, harder. Every inhalation feels like breathing through a wet cloth. Your hands are also shaking. You can't think straight anymore. You know you're in a box, but you can't remember why. Your brain is running a software update at the worst possible time. Minutes 30 to 60. The CO2 that's been torturing you, the headache, the confusion, the panic, starts acting like a sedative. At 10% carbon dioxide concentration, your body seizes. Then it goes still. You lose your consciousness before even the oxygen is completely gone. You don't feel the end. You're already somewhere else by then. And here's what that somewhere else actually feels like. Researchers say it's pure animal panic. Not movie panic, not the kind where you scream dramatically and then collect yourself. It's the kind where your brain completely abandons rational thought and replaces it with only one instruction: get out. Survivors of confined space emergencies describe a mental narrowing, where the entire world collapses down to the next breath and the 6 inches of space above your face. Then the headache arrives. Accounts describe it as pressure that won't peak, it just keeps building. And you're probably still talking to yourself at this point, maybe praying, maybe making deals. Your thoughts are still yours, but they're getting slower, they're getting harder to hold. Around the 30-minute mark, something strange happens. The panic starts to dissolve. Not because things are getting better, but because your brain is running out of the fuel it needs to generate fear. Some survivors of hypercapnia, which is CO2 poisoning, describe a strange floating detachment, like watching yourself from somewhere slightly above your own body. That's not peace. That's your prefrontal cortex going offline. By the time your body convulses, you were not there to feel it. Consciousness doesn't end with a dramatic final thought. It ends mid-sentence. One moment you're thinking about something, your kids, your front door, the smell of your kitchen, and the next your thoughts just stop. No punctuation, no fade to black, just an unfinished sentence that nobody ever gets to complete.